Revenge films.
I have a daughter and a wife whom I love so much. We used to be a typical family like any other. However, one day, my wife cheated on me. What's worse is that the man she cheated with is one of the fathers in kindergarten, and his name is Prick. The reason why I found out that my wife cheated on me is, well, it was when we went on a family vacation. It was a time when I was very busy at work. It was a very difficult time for me. But my wife's birthday and our daughter's day were just around the corner, so I decided to take a few days off work. We stayed at a hotel hot spring and spa. After taking a bath, I happened to see a notification from my wife's phone, and I saw Prick's name on the screen. I only saw it for a moment, but the message was not related to the kindergarten, nor was it about the children at all. Frankly, I wasn't happy to see what I saw, but I didn't want to fight with my wife at the hotel during the family vacation, so I went to smoke and tried calling my friend to talk about what I just saw. I think I was trying to calm myself down by talking to my friend. I told him everything from what I saw and how I felt seeing that message. Then my friend replied, "What you're feeling is just normal. Of course you'll feel that way. The man might be just the father of one of the kids in kindergarten, but they're of the opposite sex and they're both married. Don't you think it's strange for them to be talking about private matters?" I guess you're right. I mean, it's not normal to send messages like that to someone who's married, right? If there's something important to talk about, he should just pass it on to his wife to tell her. The more my friend told me this and that, the more anxious and worried I became. That's why I went back to the room, and after our daughter went to bed, I asked my wife to honestly tell me why she was in contact with that man. No matter what the reason was, I told her that I didn't want her contacting him again, and I also told her that it was strange to be messaging each other. So my wife gave me a menacing look and said,
"What? I mean, why were you spying on my phone?"
She was furious and marched to the children's room and sulked in bed. But the next day, my wife made a complete 180 and apologized to me for the attitude she showed yesterday.
"I'm sorry about yesterday. Don't worry, I promise I won't contact him anymore."
What I saw was the only message, so I decided to forgive my wife. However, not long after she promised not to contact him anymore, I found out that my wife had broken her promise. She said that there was a kindergarten meeting, so she would arrive home late. But I found a receipt that I'd never seen before. That's why I decided to set a trap for my wife. I asked her first if she was in contact with Prick, and she said that she wasn't anymore. So I blocked Prick from my wife's phone, and I told myself that it was just right for me to do that. Then after a while, my wife finally noticed that the man's number was gone from her contacts, so she marched to the kitchen and confronted me.
"Mason, what in the world were you thinking? You deleted Prick's phone number from my contacts, didn't you?"
Yeah, because you promised me that you wouldn't contact Prick anymore. And so, you weren't contacting him anymore after that, right?
What? You're not making any sense at all. You're the worst.
She's the only one who wasn't making sense of this conversation. However, the real deal of the trap that I set had just started. My wife didn't have a Gmail account, so I told her that if she had something important to message Prick, she could contact him using the Gmail that I made. However, what she didn't know was that the Gmail account was actually mine, so I was able to check the messages anytime. And what's more, is that I would get notified whenever she received a message. So I dangled a carrot in front of my wife, and I patiently waited for my wife to finally grab it. Then to my surprise, she immediately contacted that man. Of course, my phone notified me right away. She sent a message saying that she couldn't use the messaging app because the contact number was deleted, but she could use Gmail to contact him. Since they had the tool for messaging, she wanted to continue seeing him like they always did. I was disgusted by the overly sweet messages that they sent each other. My wife knew that I knew that she used Gmail, so I knew that my wife would delete their conversation for sure. That's why I immediately took a screenshot of their messages. Just as I predicted, my wife deleted all the sweet messages that she and that man had. But every time I got a notification from my phone, I took a screenshot of the messages. So the pieces of evidence piled up. Then I read a message about them meeting up at a hotel, so I secretly tailed them to go to the hotel and took pictures for evidence. Once I got those pieces of evidence, I decided that it was enough, so I talked to my wife. That day, my parents were taking care of our daughter, so it was only me and my wife at home. When I told my wife that I would send our daughter to my parents' house, she immediately sent a message to that bastard, saying that she wanted to meet him that night and make up an excuse for me. So I made sure that I took a screenshot of that chat, and I patiently waited for the night to come. Then, around 7 o'clock, my wife said,
I forgot that there is a parents' association meeting. I'll head to the meeting now, okay? I won't mind it if you go to bed before me.
Okay, I understand. But before you go, there's something I need to tell you.
What? That can wait until I get home tomorrow, right? I need to go now or else I'll be late.
Alright then, in that case, I'll just send them a message through email that you'll be late. The moment I uttered those words, my wife froze.
What are you saying? I told you I'm going to attend the parents' association meeting.
I'm sorry to say this, but I already know where you're going and who you're meeting. You're going to the Scott Hotel with Prick, right? While I said that, I took out the printed screenshots of their messages, and I scattered them to the floor.
What? Why? I'm sure I deleted those messages.
Yes, that's right. You did delete the messages you had with that bastard. But email is different from your previous messaging app in a way that I can log into the account if I type in the ID. Also, I get notified whenever you receive a message.
Unbelievable, you tricked me!
Tricked you? That's my line! You're the one who tricked me! You promised not to contact him anymore, but you broke your promise! You then secretly contacted him and cheated on me again! You even deleted every conversation you had with him! Do you still think that I'm at fault, or do you admit to your own mistake? After I said those words, my wife went silent and looked down in shame. With all that said, you know what I'm going to do next, right?
Huh? What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? We're getting a divorce, so I'll go report to your parents about what you did, and I'll also contact Prick, because from his wife's perspective, it would mean that she was betrayed by both you and her husband.
Wait a second! I don't want to get a divorce, so please don't tell my parents about this! Please don't tell his wife as well. If you do that, I can't go to the kindergarten anymore!
There's no need for you to worry about that, you know. Because after we get divorced, I'll go back to my parents' house. I'm planning to move our daughter to another school.
No, I don't want that to happen! I will never allow you to divorce me!
What you want doesn't matter anymore after everything you did to me. I gave you a chance. 2 chances. But you brazenly broke your promise. Frankly speaking, I don't know what to do with you anymore. You've done too much damage. You can't talk your way out of divorce. My wife clung to me and begged me to stay. But I'm not kind enough to forgive a woman who cheated on me not once, but twice. So I called my parents-in-law immediately, and I told them everything that my wife did to me, including the affair she had with one of the parents at the kindergarten. And I also told them that I had pieces of evidence of the affair. My wife finally broke down in tears and fell to the floor. I wasn't sure, though, whether it was because of her fear that her parents knew about what she did, or maybe because it finally dawned on her that she would be alone from now on. I also heard my mother-in-law's voice falter, and her sobbing. I thought from the bottom of my heart that in this situation, my mother-in-law was more heartbroken than my wife. But hearing my wife cry at that time, I didn't feel a sting in my heart anymore, because I finally didn't care anymore. After that, I also contacted that bastard Prick. He wasn't a stranger to me, so I was able to easily call him. I also had the option of assaulting him in his house, but I was aware that his children were in the house, so of course I didn't do that. That's why I chose the option to send a certification of contents. Immediately after that, my wife received a message. Prick had 3 children, and his wife was a few years older than him. I heard that when his wife found out about the affair, they had a huge fight in the house. Well, of course the fight was expected, because he cheated on her with one of the mothers at kindergarten. My wife and his wife met several times, and they had chatted, so I was sure his wife also found it hard to believe at first. Prick's wife came from a wealthy family, so they were able to buy an expensive condominium, and they lived a comfortable lifestyle. But he was driven out of the house the very next day. I then demanded quite a high amount of alimony to both Prick and my wife. My wife persistently complained and begged me not to divorce her, but my parents-in-law came to the rescue and picked up their daughter. My mother-in-law, filled with rage, slapped my wife hard and shouted,
"Take responsibility for what you did."
My wife finally signed the divorce papers only after my mother-in-law scolded her. My wife, who lived a very comfortable life after marrying me, probably never thought about the worst that could happen if I found out about her affair. I can't believe I married that idiot. After that, I canceled the house contract and went back to my parents' house. As for my ex-wife and that bastard, they couldn't pay the alimony in one lump sum. So now she works non-stop, from working at the convenience store early in the morning to cleaner jobs until late at night. I told my wife that she's not allowed to see our daughter anymore, but the same is true for that bastard. His wife strictly forbids him to go see their children ever again. I don't know what it's like to cheat on their partner when they have children, and I don't want to know what it feels like at all. But I think those two got exactly what they deserved.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.